Welcome to the East Brandywine Township Board of Supervisors PM meeting this Thursday, February 20th, 2025. I want to remind everybody a recording device will be in use during this meeting, so make sure you use the microphones so that we can get an accurate minutes and records. Public comment for agenda items. Rules of conduct. Did I miss the Pledge of Allegiance?
Yeah,
Yes, sir.
Nope.
we can go back to that.
Pledge allegiance. Please stand. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Public comments for agenda items. Rules of conduct of public meetings established by Resolution 2001-08. The time allocated to each individual making a comment shall be 3 minutes unless otherwise set by the presiding officer. Additional public comment may be granted at the discretion of the presiding officer at the conclusion of the meeting. Do we have any public comment on agenda items? Seeing none, I'd like to move on to the minutes of previous meetings. Is there a motion to accept them?
I'll make a motion to accept the minutes of the previous meeting.
I'll second it. All those in favor?
Aye.
Treasurer's report. I have reviewed the treasurer's report and authorization to pay bills and approve the payroll. I have reviewed the bills, and I'll make a motion to authorize the payment of the bills and approve the payroll.
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Township manager's report.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. All the matters I'd like to discuss with the board this evening are agenda items, so I have no additional report at this time.
Building inspector's report.
Shall I read that into the record?
I'd appreciate that.
Building permit activity for January 2025 included 28 building permits issued, 2 zoning permits issued. Total fees collected for building and zoning permits was $62,128.55. A total of 11 use and occupancy permits were issued, and 156 inspections were completed with 0 failed inspections. This report is respectfully submitted by Noran King, Permits Administrator.
Thank you. The Township Roadmaster's report.
I have not prepared a report for this evening.
Police Department report.
Good evening. The police report for January 2024, the department recorded 2,351 events. We had 173 investigations completed, made 8 criminal arrests, 0 summary arrests. We had 1 warrant arrest. No juvenile petitions were filed for the month. We investigated 11 traffic accidents. Officers issued 99 traffic citations, 56 traffic warnings, and officers logged 9,117 miles of patrol. Training completed for the month. Everyone in the police department right now is completing their annual Act 180 trainings. The entire police department also completed its biannual first aid, CPR, and ADD certifications. Officer Sosa, Officer Smith, or Detective Smith, Officer DiPaolo, and Detective Harnish all attended Penn State Posit. I apologize, I left 2 others off. Officer Chris Fox attended Penn State Field Training Officer certification, and Officer Ray attended an FBI LEDA Media and Public Relations School. There was no correspondence for the month, and you have attachments of the monthly investigations and the officer activity reports. Thank you.
Thank you. Fire company report.
Good evening. We had 74 total incidents for the month, 37 fire, 37 medical. We had 10 fire and 20 medical in East Brandywine. 14 fire and 20 medical in East Brandywine. West Brandywine, we had 10 fire and 17 medical. We had an average personnel response of 13, with 15 for major incidents. Fuel usage for the month, we had 138 gallons from East Brandywine, 81.7 gallons from West Brandywine, and a total for 219.7. We had 3 trainings for the month, average personnel of 26 for 156 total training hours.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Minquist Ambulance.
Good evening. I believe you have the 24 and January report in your packet, correct?
Yes.
So, just to highlight 24, Minquist handled 5,760 calls service, averaging 16 calls in a 24-hour period, which was a 40% increase in demand over the previous year. One of our goals for 2025 is to ramp up our community education outreach efforts. Just some highlights on that. In 24, Minquist received a state grant for car seats to be loaned out to community members in need. As a result, our team has distributed 5 car seats to those in need in 24, including a family on Christmas Day at Paoli Hospital. Our car seat techs also completed 28 car seat safety checks for the smallest residents here in the area in 2024. As far as CPR, our CPR instructors taught 23 classes and certified 63 members in 24, so our goal is to keep ramping it up in 25. Regarding 25, in January, Minquist responded to 570 calls for service, which is a 39% increase from January 2024. So if you see the trend, it's going to continue to grow. Of those calls, 322 were of ALS or advanced life support, 248 were BLS or basic life support, with 344 patients being transported to area hospitals. Going back to the smallest patients, we had 4 pediatrics that went to Chop King and Brescia as a specialty center, and even took 3 specialty cases to Reading. The rise of call volume, as noted in 24, has led to increased wait times. So one of the things our operations team is working on is wait times and monitoring them so we can better serve the community. To put that in perspective, for January 2025, the average wait time for Minquist, measured from the arrival at the ER until transferring the patient, was 14 minutes. Industry standards about 30. However, we had 9% of our transported calls ranged from 30 to 60 minutes, and 2 transports were 80 to 81 minutes. So our team's going to keep working on that to see how we can, mitigate that issue and keep providing quality care to the residents. Thank you.
I see no old business. Is there any old business, Mr. Revin?
There is none.
All right, new business. Mr. Revin, Honeywell EBI server upgrade.
Thank you. Last time I spoke, I didn't have the camera pointed at me. It takes me a moment. Since the last time we've met, the township PC that hosts the Honeywell EBI, which is the controller for our HVAC in this commercial building, failed. It was a very old PC. It was running Windows XP. Microsoft ended support for Windows XP in 2014, so it was well past its warranty. Included in your packet this evening is a quote from Honeywell for the software. They call it EBI 700. That is the software used to control our HVAC system. It is less than the bid threshold, but it is more than the telephonic bid threshold. I did not seek telephone bids because the software is proprietary. There is only one solution that will work for us. I will say this is a budgeted expense, although the timeline was dictated by the failing PC and not by staff. We're muddling through. The HVAC is running the last program it had, and which means it's nice and toasty in this room, but we can't control when it goes on and off at this point. So it's in everybody's best interest to get this repaired as quickly as possible. So at this time, I would respectfully ask the board authorize I make a purchase that exceeds my spending authority for EBI upgrade to the software 700 in the amount of $12,853.
Okay? Anybody want to make a motion to accept it?
So moved as stated by Manager Revin.
I'll second.
Discussion?
No discussion. Sounds like it's something we have to have.
Sounds like it too. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next is the appointment of Chris Hobson to the Planning Commission. Chris is actually here tonight, for those of you who don't know Chris. He's a non-voting member, I understand, right? Chris has lived in the township, what, 6 years?
Yeah, I grew up in Chester County by Marsh
Right.
Street as well.
And his resume is attached, so I'll make a motion to appoint Chris Hobson to the Planning Commission as a non-voting member.
I'll second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Congratulations, Chris. Thanks for volunteering. Subdivision and zoning applications. I see nothing on the agenda. Ordinances and resolutions for our consideration. Resolution 4 of 2025, amending inclement weather policy. Mr. Revin.
Yeah, exactly 1 year ago, this board provided direction to staff at a public meeting about how to handle decision-making about closing the business due to inclement weather. The board's advice was to follow the lead of the Chester County administrative offices, and we have done so this year. Since February of last year, we went about 10 months without any snow, and now we've gone about 30 days with 4 times of snow. So this is now top of mind. The resolution before you would amend the employee manual to reflect the direction given to the board a year ago. So while we did discuss, we never made it formal in amending the employee manual about snow closures. So at this time, I would respectfully ask the board amend the employee manual by adopting Resolution 4 of 2025.
All right, thank you. I've read through the thing, it makes sense to me. Anybody want to make a motion?
I'll make the motion.
To accept resolution?
I'm sorry, to accept resolution 4 of 2025, amending the inclement weather policy.
Thank you, I'll second it. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Public comment on non-agenda items. I see none. Under notices, there have been no executive sessions prior to this meeting. I'll make a motion that we adjourn.
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.